Good evening, dear parents. Welcome to the elocution program. May I hand over to our dear children who will be anchoring the entire program. So I request Arav to begin. Thank you.
A very good evening, dear parents, teachers, and my friends. On behalf of New Era High School staff and students, I heartily welcome all the dear parents for the final elocution program. Your presence is truly motivating. Today, we are about to witness yet another major event of the school for the academic year 2021 on a virtual platform. Let us commence the elocution program by seeking the grace of God. May I request Dharmik and Adrija to lead us into prayers.
Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but grant them steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art the helper, and
Create in me a pure heart, O my God, and renew a tranquil conscience within me, O my hope. Through the Spirit of power, confirm thou me in thy cause, O my best beloved, and by the light of thy glory reveal unto me thy path. O thou the goal of my desire, through the power of the transcendent mind, lift me up unto the heaven of thy holiness. O source of my being, and by the breezes of thine eternity, who art my God, let thine everlasting melodies breathe tranquility on me, O my companion, and let the riches of thine ancient countenance deliver me from all except thee, O my Master, and let the tidings of the revelations of thine incorruptible essence bring me joy. O thou who art the most manifest of the manifest, and the most hidden of the hidden.
Thank you, Dharmik and Edrija, for the melodious chanting as quoted by Abdul Baha. When we speak, let our speech be an outward evidence of the inner light, for we must speak the truth, otherwise, we shall not act wisely. I hope that you will all become eloquent. The greatest gifts of man are reason of eloquence, of expression. The perfect man is both intelligent and eloquent. He has knowledge and knows how to express it. The elocution program that you are about to witness today is the reflection of the immense and earnest effort put in by the students of Class 6 over the period of past few months. Literary pieces from four categories, namely poetry, prose, story, and holy writings, were shared by the teacher with us during the monsoon holidays. We were given the liberty to choose anyone to be memorized for the elocution. For further assistance, the audio recording of the English teacher too was shared, which served as the right tool to grasp the required intonations, pronunciations, expressions, stress, and pauses. The first round comprised of the video recording to be shared with the teacher. The second round was the class presentation, followed by the peer review round, which included the feedback by the listeners. After the meticulous process, the finalists have been selected for today's presentation. The efforts of all students who participated earnestly in the first two rounds is equally appreciated. We will now listen to the eloquent speakers. I request Riya Bavlekar and Stavya Shroff to introduce the speakers of Class 6A.
In the words of Baha'u'llah, for use every day, the verses revealed by God. Blessed is the man who recite and reflect upon them. The holy writings help us reflect upon our actions in our day-to-day life. Please welcome Devika Garodia, who will deliver an excerpt from the tablet to the Hague by Abdul Baha.
An excerpt from Abdul Baha's tablet to the Hague, 17 December 1919. Consider the flowers of a garden, though differing in kind, color, form, and shape. Yet, inasmuch as they are refreshed by the waters of one spring, revived by the breath of one wind, invigorated by the rays of one sun, this diversity increases their charm and adds unto their beauty. Thus, when that unifying force, the penetrating influence of the Word of God, takes effect, the difference of customs, manners, habits, ideas, opinions, and dispositions embellishes the world of humanity, and that is praiseworthy. This diversity, this difference, is like the naturally created dissimilarity and variety of the different limbs and organs of the human body. For each one contributes to the beauty, efficiency, and perfection of the whole. When these different limbs and organs come under the influence of man's sovereign soul, and the soul's power pervades the limbs and members, veins and arteries of the body, then difference reinforces harmony, diversity strengthens love, and multiplicity is the greatest factor for coordination. Thank you.
Thank you, Devika. Poetry has always been a part of human life. It is an art that lies in the soul and the spirit of man since the beginning of time. A poet writes because he has an indispensable desire in his heart to express his ideas, to objectify his poetic philosophy and about life. The poem Leisure, written by William Davis, conveys a beautiful message on how we need to spare some time in a beautiful life, busy life, and admire our nature and surrounding. May I invite Dhanya Ajmera to recite the poem Leisure by W. H. Davis.
Leisure by W.H. Davis. What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows, no time to see the shady paths where squirrels hide their nuts in grass, no time to see in broad
broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this is, full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhoni. Service and love for destitute were Mother Teresa's methods to bring the world one step closer to peace. The Nobel Prize for Peace was just another milestone for someone who has been flooded with praise the world over. What she said when she accepted the prize, however, was a reality check for the world. Please welcome Gayatri Sangh, who will deliver an excerpt from the speech by Mother Teresa.
Noble Lecture, an excerpt from speech by Mother Teresa. Poor people are very great people. One evening, we went out and we picked up four people from the street, and one of them was in most terrible condition. And I told the sisters, "You take care of the other three. I will take care of this one who looked worse." And I did for her all that my love can do. I put her in bed, and there was such a beautiful smile on her face. She took hold of my hand as she said one word only, "Thank you." And she died. I could not help but examine my conscience before her, and I asked, what would I say if I was in her place? And my answer is very simple. I would have tried to draw a little attention to myself. I would have said, "I'm hungry, that I'm dying, I'm cold, I'm in pain," or something. But she gave me much more. She gave me her grateful love, and she died with a smile on her face. Some time ago in Calcutta, we had great difficulty in getting sugar, and I don't know how the word got around to the children. And the little boy of 4 years old went home and told his parents, "I will not eat sugar for 3 days. I will give my sugar to Mother Teresa for her children." After 3 days, his father and mother brought him to our home. I had never met them before, and this little one could scarcely pronounce my name, but he knew exactly what he had come to do. He knew he wanted to share his love. And so, here I am talking with you. I want you to find who are here, right in your own home first, and begin love there. Be the good news to your own people and find out about your next door neighbor. Do you know who they are? So let us thank God that we have had this opportunity to know each other, and this knowledge of each other has brought us very close. And we will be able to help not only children of India and Africa, but will able to help children of whole world. And with this prize that I have received as a prize of peace, I am going to try to make home for many people that have no home, because I believe love begins at home. And if we can create a home for poor, I think the more and more love will spread. All through this understanding of love, we will be able to bring peace. Be the good news to the poor in our own family, in our country, and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri. Stories define us, shape us, control us, and make us. Not every human culture in the world is literate, but every single culture tells stories. Have you ever been so angry that you wanted to hit something? What do you do when that anger wells up in you? What were the consequences? Let us listen to a story that makes us realize that rushing to judgment through anger and grief can cause dire consequences. May I invite Avni Jadhawa to narrate the story The King and His Baldwin by James The King and His Hawk by James Baldwin.
The King and His Hawk, a story by James Baldwin. One morning, the king rode out into the woods to have a day sport. On his wrist sat his favorite hawk, for in those days, hawks were trained to hunt. At a word from their masters, they'd fly high into the air and search for a prey. The king had often ridden through the woods, and he knew all the paths. So while the rest of the party took the nearest way, he went by a longer road through a valley between two mountains. The day had been warm. The king was very thirsty. The hot days of summer had dried up all the mountain brooks. At last, to his joy, he saw some water trickling down over an edge of a rock. The king leaped from his horse and took out a little silver cup from his hunting bag. He held it so as to catch the slowly falling drops. It took a long time to fill the cup. At last, it was nearly full. The king put it to his lips and was about to drink. All of a sudden, there was a swirling sound in the air. The cup was knocked from his hands. The water was all spilled upon the ground. The king looked up to see who had done this thing. It was his pet hawk. The hawk flew back and forth a few times and then alighted among the rocks by the spring. The king held the cup, uh, held the cup to catch the trickling drops. But this time he did not wait so long. When the cup was half full, he lifted it towards his mouth. But before it touched his lips, the hawk swooped down again and knocked the cup from his hands. Now the king began to grow angry. He tried again, but the hawk swooped down and knocked the cup from his hands. And for the third time, the hawk kept him from drinking. The king was very angry indeed. How dare do you act so? He cried. If I had you in my hands, I would wring your neck. He filled the cup again, but before he tried to drink, he drew his sword. He had hardly spoken before the hawk swooped down again and knocked the cup from his hands. With a quick sweep of the sword, it struck the bird as it passed. The next moment, the poor hawk lay bleeding and dying at his master's feet. That is what you get for your pains, said the king. But when he looked for his cup, he found that it had been fallen between two rocks where he could not reach. At any rate, I will have to drink from that spring, he said to himself. With that, he began to climb the steep bank to the place from where the water trickled. At last, he reached the place. There indeed was a pool of water, but what was lying in it and almost filling it? There was a huge giant snake of the most poisonous kind. The king stopped. He forgot his thirst. He only thought of the poor dead bird lying below him. The hawk saved my life, he cried. And how did I repay him? I have killed him. I have learned a sad lesson today. That is, never to do anything in anger. Thank you.
Thank you, Avni. May I request Laksh Pandit and Manthan Chaudhary to introduce the speakers of Class 6B.
The holy writing creates a stir within our soul and guide us on the right path in our journey of life. Let us welcome Parishi Panchika to deliver an excerpt from the tablet to Hague by Abdul Baha.
An excerpt from Abdul Baha's tablet to the Hague, 17 December 1919. How unpleasing to the eye if all the flowers and plants, the leaves and blossoms, the fruits and branches and trees of that garden were all of the same shape and color. Diversity of hues, form, and shape enriches and adorns the garden and heightens the effect thereof. In like manner, when diverse shades of thoughts, temperament, and character are all brought together under the power and influence of one central agency, the beauty and glory of human perfection will be revealed and made manifest, not but the celestial potency of the Word of God, which rules and transcends the reality of all things, is capable of harmonizing the divergent thoughts, sentiments, ideas, and convictions of the children of men. Verily, it is the penetrating power in all things, the mover of souls, the blinder and regulator in the world of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Parishi. The English poet Shelley said that a poem is the very image of life expressed in its internal truth. Let us enjoy listening to another poem, Above Ben Adam, which is a short fable-like poem that suggests people can best express love for God by simply loving their fellow human beings. May I invite Arega to recite a poem, Abu Ben Adam by Leigh Hunt.
Abu Bem Adam by Leigh Hunt. Abu Bem Adam, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom.
Thank you, Arya. The most valuable thing an experienced person has is the experience. Inspirational speeches are used to express such experiences which serve as a great platform from which valuable life lessons can be learned. Please welcome Aryaman Kumar to deliver an encouraging speech. The pleasure of reading an excerpt from the speech by William Lyon Phelps.
The pleasure of reading an excerpt from this speech by William Lyon Phelps. The habit of reading is one of the greatest resources of mankind, and we enjoy reading books that belong to us much more than if they are borrowed. Books are for use, not for show. You should own no book that you're afraid to mark up or afraid to place on the table, wide open and face down. A good reason for marking favorite passages in books is that this practice enables you to remember more easily the significant sayings, to refer to them quickly, and then in later years. It is like visiting a forest where you once placed a trail. You have the pleasure of going over the old ground, recalling both the intellectual scenery and your own earlier self. Everyone should begin collecting a private library in youth. The instinct of private property, which is fundamental in human beings, can here be cultivated with every advantage and no evils. One should have one's own bookshelf, which should have no doors, glass windows, or keys. They should be free and accessible to the hand as well as to the eye. The best of mural decoration is books. They are more varied in color and appearance than any wallpaper. They are more attractive in design. And they have the prime advantage of being separate personalities. So, if you sit alone in the room in the firelight, you will be surrounded with intimate friends. The knowledge that they are there in plain view is both stimulating and refreshing. You do not have to keep them on. I have spent most of my indoor life in a room containing 6,000 books and have a stock answer to the invariable question that comes from strangers. Have you read all of these books? Some of them twice. This reply is both true and unexpected. Books are of the people, by the people, for the people. Literature is the immortal part of history. It is the best and most enduring part of personality. But book friends have this advantage over living friends. You can enjoy the most truly aristocratic society in the world whenever you want to. And there is no doubt that in these books you see these men at their best. They wrote for you, they let themselves out, they did their ultimate best to entertain you, to make a favorable impression. You are as important to them as an audience is to an actor. Only instead of seeing their mask, you see their innermost heart of heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Arman. Stories create magic and a sense of wonder at the world. Stories teach us about life, about ourselves, and about others. Respect and appreciation for other cultures and can promote a positive attitude to people from different lands and religions. May I invite Purvi Reddy to narrate an Iranian folk, The Shepherd's Treasure.
The Shepherd's Treasure, an Iranian folk tale. In a village in Iran, there once lived a shepherd. He was very poor. He did not even have a small cottage of his own. Though poor and uneducated, this shepherd was very wise. He understood people's sorrows and troubles and helped them face their problems with courage and common sense. Many people came to him for advice. Soon he became famous for his wisdom and friendly nature. The king of that country heard about him and thought of meeting him, disguised as a shepherd and riding on a mule. One day, the king came to the cave where the wise shepherd lived. As soon as the shepherd saw the traveler coming towards the cave, he rose to welcome him. He took the tired traveler inside the cave, gave him water to drink, and a share of his own meager meal. The king rested for the night in the cave and was greatly impressed by the shepherd's hospitality and wise conversation. Though still tired, the king decided to depart the next morning. He said, "Many thanks for your kindness to a poor traveler. I have a long way to go. Permit me to leave." Looking straight into the eyes of his guest, the shepherd replied, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for paying me the compliment of a visit." The king was astonished as well as pleased. He is indeed very wise, he thought to himself. I need people like him to work for me. And the king appointed this humble shepherd the governor of a small district. Although he rose to power and dignity, the shepherd remained as humble as ever. People loved and honored him for his wisdom, sympathy, and goodness. He was kind and just to one and all. Now, the governors of the other provinces grew terribly jealous of him and began to talk to the king against him. They said, "He is very dishonest and keeps for himself a part of the money that he collects as tax from the people. Why did he always carry with him?" They added, "an iron chest. Perhaps he carried in it the treasure that he had secretly collected." First, the king did not pay attention to these reports. But how long could he ignore these governors and their endless stories about the shepherd? One thing was certain: the new governor did carry an iron chest with him all the time. So one day, the new governor was summoned to the palace. He came riding on his camel, and to everyone's delight, the famous iron chest was there fastened securely behind him on the camel's back. Now the king was angry. He thundered, "Why do you always carry that iron chest with you? What does it contain?" The shepherd smiled. He asked his servant to bring in the chest. When the chest was opened, no gold or silver or jewels, but an old blanket was all that came out. Holding it up proudly, the shepherd said, "This, my dear master, is my only treasure. I always carry it with me." "But why do you carry such an ordinary blanket with you? Surely you are the governor of a district," the king asked. To which the shepherd replied with quiet dignity, "This blanket is my oldest friend. It will still protect me if at any time your majesty should wish to take away my new clothes." How pleased the king was And how embarrassed the jealous governors became to hear the wise man's reply. They knew the shepherd was indeed the humblest and the wisest man in the land. The king made him the governor of a much bigger district that very day. Thank you.
Thank you, Purvi. May I request Hiti Patel and Chaitya Nagda to introduce the speakers of class 6C.
Reading and reflecting upon holy writing opens the doors to true knowledge and to our inner beings, which in turn fills the heart with radiant joy. Let us welcome Rajneesh Paul to deliver an excerpt from the tablet to the Hague by Abdul Baha.
An excerpt from Abdul Baha's tablet to the Hague, 17 December 1919. Soon will your swiftly passing days be over, and the fames and riches, the comforts, the joys provided by this rubbish heap. The world will be gone without a trace. Someone he, then the people to God invites humanity to follow the example of company on high. Be ye loving helpers to the orphan, and a refuge to the helpless, and a treasury for the poor, and a cure for the ailing. Be ye the helpers of every victim of oppression, and patrons of disadvantage. Think ye at all the times of rendering some service to every member of human race. Pay he no heed to aversion and rejection, to disdain, hostility, and injustice. Act ye in the opposite way. Be ye sincerely kind, not in appearance only. Let each one of God's loved ones center his attention on this, to be the God's mercy to men, to be the Lord's grace. Let him do some good to every person whose path he has crossed, and be of some benefit to him. Let him improve the characters of each and all, and reorient the minds of men. For love is light, no matter in what abode it dwells, and hate is darkness, no matter where it may make its nest. O friend of God, that the hidden mystery may stand revealed, and the secret essence of all things may be disclosed. Strive, yeah, to banish the darkness forever and ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranesh. A great poem can be absorbed in our souls and become a part of us forever. The poem The Way Through Woods, written by Rudyard Kipling, talks about the relationship between human being and nature through an example of a road vanished in the woods after the people abandoned it. He shows the gradual regrowth of the nature, thereby removing all the remains of the road. May I invite Shloka today to recite the poem The Way Through Woods by Rudyard Kipling?
The Way Through the Woods by Rudyard Kipling. They shut the road through the woods 70 years ago. Weather and rain have undone it again. And now you would never know. There was once a road through the woods before they planted the trees. It is underneath the coppice and the heat and the tin anemones. Only the keeper sees that where the ringdove broods and the badger rolls that feed. There was once a road through the woods. Yet, if you enter the woods of a summer evening late, when a night air cools on the drought-rained pools, where the autumn distances mate, they fear not men in the woods because they see so few. You will hear a beat of a horse's feet and the swish of a skirt in the dew, steadily capering through the misty solitudes as though they perfectly knew the old North road through the woods. But there is no road through the woods. Thank you.
Thank you, Slok. By listening to an inspirational speech by famous personalities, we end up seeing our lives with new eyes, rethinking about our current life situations, and realize that we all are in this together. Let us listen to a speech delivered at Rio Earth Summit in 1992 by 12-year-old Servant Suzuki. Speaking from child's perspective, Servant Suzuki's speech aimed to remind people that consequences of actions will be felt by children of the world, the future generation. Please welcome Nitara Gupta to deliver a speech. I am only a child, an excerpt from the speech by Servant Suzuki.
An excerpt from the speech I Am Only a Child by Servant Suzuki. I am here to speak for all generations to come. I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles, and rainforests full of birds and butterflies. But now, I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I am only a child and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. I am only a child, yet I know we are all part of a family. 5 billion strong. In fact, 30 million species strong. And borders and governments will never change that. I am only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal. Even when we have more than enough, we are afraid to share. We are afraid to let go of some of our wealth. 2 days ago, here in Brazil, we were shocked when we spent time with some children living on the streets. This is what one child told us. I wish I was rich, and if I were, I would give all the street children food, clothes, medicines, shelter, and love and affection. If a child on the street who has nothing is willing to share, why are we, who have everything, still so greedy? I am only a child, yet I know. If all the money spent on war was spent on finding environmental answers, ending poverty, and on finding treaties, what a wonderful place this earth would be. Thank you.
Netra, stories are informative and help to visualize the plot and characters. They encourage imagination. Let us listen next a short story about the interaction of the people and how the festive season brings peace on earth, goodwill towards all. May I invite Rashi to narrate a story?
An old clock shop. Christmas Eve had arrived. As last-minute shoppers were going home, a thick, white sheet of snow lay over Salt Lake City, USA. Yet,
The lights were still burning in the old clock shop as Ray, its old deaf owner, worked on a clock he had sold that day. Having finished his work, Ray stood up and was on his way to the back room when a cold rush of air from the front door hit the back of his neck. He turned to meet a last minute shopper, but his old wise eyes told him that this was not a shopper. He saw two men, one in his 20s, the other closer to 50. The younger man remained at the door. The older man approached the counter with no sign of friendliness in his eyes. Ray was able to hide his growing fear as he slowly pushed a notepad and a pencil across the counter. He smiled at the unfriendly face and then pointed to his ears and shook his head from side to side. A quick look of surprise changed the man's face as he studied the notepad. Then he turned and said something to his friend. Ray used this chance to look closely at the man, paying attention to the shape of a gun and a restless hand in the man's right pocket. Anger boiled within him, but it was kept down by an inner voice that said, "Be still." He wrote on the notepad, "May I help you?" For the first time, the older man looked directly at Ray and smiled, a cruel, mocking smile. They both understood why he was there, why his friend remained at the door. They looked like men who were down on their luck and were now ready to try something that they would later be sorry about. The clocks ticked on. Ray calmly wrote another message. "Have you come to pick up a clock or a watch?" Then he pointed to the loan board filled with hanging clocks and pocket watches. He was not a pawnbroker, but at the same time, he couldn't say no to the needy people who placed their old watches or clocks before him for anything they could get. He loaned more than he should. They would be there when the owners wanted them back at the same price he had paid, with no interest. Then the older man seemed to feel a little easier, took out his hand from the pocket, and quickly looked at his watch on his wrist. "How much will you give me for this?" the man wrote. Ray noticed a little shame in the grey eyes looking at him. The watch was nothing special and yet had great powers. It was something to exchange, a way out of a bad situation. Knowing that great need had brought the man to his shop in the first place, Ray asked, "How much do you need for this?" The reply came back on the notepad, "Whatever it's worth." Ray reached into his cash box, pulled out a $50 note, and passed it into the man's hand. As they shook hands, they looked into the man's eyes. They seemed to say, "Thank you." They both knew the watch wasn't worth it. But before turning to leave, the man wrote, "I will be back to pick it up as soon as I can." The little story ended on the half-hour clock, with the clock striking all together. Which the timepieces, which had been looking on silently all the while, rang out of time with such a feeling that even Ray thought he could hear them. Their sweet, musical message was filled with hope. This timeless message of peace on earth, goodwill towards all, was felt by the three men who stood in the old clock shop. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashi. Dear parents, we hope you enjoyed listening to the vivid literary pieces as much we enjoyed preparing it for you. On behalf of the class 6 students, may I invite Dhani Ajmera to express our gratitude?
Good evening, dear parents, teachers, and my dear friends. On behalf of Class 6, I would firstly like to thank all the parents as they have spared their valuable time and joined us this evening for the program. Your presence was indeed very encouraging to all participants. I would like to thank the management of the school, the head administrator, Ms. Suniti, and the English faculty for providing us an exposure to this experience of elocution and providing an opportunity to refine our skills, develop eloquence, and build our confidence. I also extend gratitude to all participants for their untiring efforts to present today's program. I request the department coordinator, Ms. Khanna, to speak a few words.
Thank you. Good evening, dear friends, and our lovely children, dear parents. Very good evening. Marvelous presentations, dear children. Really, I was amazed to be a part of this show. You really made this evening so rich. Your eloquent speeches, the diction you use, the poise, the pronunciation, fluency, and how can I forget your beautiful expressions? You know, the way you carried out throughout your performance, it was all amazing. I was really enjoying each one of you presenting over here. You know, I used to think that on the virtual platform, I don't know how it would turn up to be, but it was a beautiful show. Miss Smita, I want to thank you for selecting beautiful pieces and the way you have trained each one of them. You know, hats off to you. It's friends, it's not easy, you know, to bring out this excellence in them, you know, without being patient. And we could really witness the hard work put in by the student and by the teacher, you know, and of course, parents have helped a lot in that regard. It takes hours of practices to put up a show like this. You know, your hard work was really witnessed in their performance, Miss Meeta. Thank you so much. And how can I forget dear parents for your encouragement, for your guidance, support. Without that, this function wouldn't have been a success, you know, because the children are with you and it is you who have pushed them, you know, to take up the part. Sometime, you know, this age group, they take a back seat also. No, like it all depends on the mood swings, you know, whether to really work ahead or not. But I congratulate each one of you for putting up such a wonderful show. May God bless you all. Thank you very much, and making this evening very rich. You know, you have left beautiful memories of this evening with each one of us, dear children. Keep up your good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss. Dear parents and teachers, kindly feel free to express your views. Thank you.
Dear Miss Smita and all my dear students, really it was amazing. And you prepared so well. I can't even believe that I was sitting here and watching and listening to you all. Excellent experience I have today. And really, we did not even understand that this is virtual. We are watching and virtual classes and through that. And dear parents also really thanks for all these arrangements you have done. And top of this, Smita, really, really, it was amazing. I don't have any more words. And Miss Khanna and all other teachers, really we had today excellent evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Khanna, and thank you, Ms. Shubhra, for your really words of appreciation. It means a lot.
Yes, Miss Smita, you have really worked very hard, and the children showed it actually. And from when they are practicing, from vacation they are doing the practice, and I could see the practice is going on and on and on, and really they have worked very hard with the parents.
Thank
Your
you.
hard work is seen. Very
A
nicely done.
heartiest, yes, a heartiest congratulations, class 6 participants and their English teacher, of course, without whose guidance and support this wouldn't have been possible. And of course, I thank all the other staff who have helped and supported the English faculty to make these evenings so memorable. Thank you so much. Of course, without the parents' support, it wouldn't have been possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kanchan.
Again, out there, I would just like to thank the teachers and all the support staff who has actually helped created this event. Of course, no one thought that in current time, people sitting in a different location would be able to come and do elocution. So this is, and in fact, doing it in such a situation and thinking of it by itself is a very, very good class that, if whatever is required can be done. This gives a learning even to our children that they can do whatever they are to do, irrespective of the location where they are. If they have a will, there is a way it can happen. So congratulations to all the team. It's a lesson in disguise for our children also. It's very hearty to attend this. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. Means a lot. And your dear parents and teachers, I would really like to share, though, all of you have witnessed it, the amount of hard work the children have put in. But yes, there is something that I would like to share, and that is, the responsibility and commitment that the children have shown today. I would like to bring to your notice that there are three students among the participants today who are really facing challenges. There are two who are unwell, one with a torn ligament and in extreme pain, the other with high temperature, and one child having a member of the family in an ICU. But all three of them were so keen on performing today. They did not back out. Even though I wished that they would have rested today, but they did not. So I really appreciate their courage and their commitment that they have shown at such a young age. So thank you, children, from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, Smita. I
Yes.
love the background. Hello, congratulations to you, to class 6 students and to their parents. Congratulations for all the efforts that you have put in training them, Smita. You have done a lovely job. And the students have really been very beautiful, very expressive. And I would definitely listen to the whole thing once again. And it has been a wonderful, wonderful show. And we really thank the parents for participating and encouraging all of us with their presence. And keep it up. And I'm sure that these children will remember for the rest of their lives that once they had participated in a virtual elocution when they were part of a historic pandemic. So I think that the children and the parents would themselves remember this evening forever. So thank you, congratulations once again, and thank you for all the wonderful efforts, all the hard work and the running around and taking care of things. So once again, I congratulate you and all the students, all the wonderful students for their expressions and all that innocent, rendering of the different literary pieces. And congratulations also for choosing the beautiful pieces that have been, selected by you, the literary pieces. So thank you and all the best.
Thanks a lot.
Good evening, all. This is Mrs. Sank, Gayatri's mother. First of all, I want to congratulate all the participants. All did very well. It was very difficult to organize such program on a virtual platform. So I really appreciate the school and especially Miss Meeta, who took all the efforts. And about Gayatri, this is her first year in this school, and even this is her first year in English medium. So thank you so much, Smita, for believing in her. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, dear parents and students, all teachers, thanks a lot for your encouragement. I'm sure you have uplifted their spirit with your words. But yet on my mind, because Arya was unable to speak due to network problem, I think before we close, I would yet like to try for her if she can join and could deliver the poem. So may I request Arya, if it's possible to connect and say the poem, dear?
Above them Adam by Leigh Hunt. Above them Adam, may his starving feed. Above one night, for a deep dream of and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom. An angel riding in a book of gold, exceeding ease, had made Ben Adam bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What light is thou?" The vision raised his head, and with a look made of all sweet upon answered the names of those who love the Lord. And is mine one? Said Abu. Nay, not so, replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but surely still, and said, Art baby, then write me and conduct loves as fellow men. The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great waking light and showed the names of those who love of God had left. And lo, then Adam's name left all the rest. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Arya. Now I really feel peace at heart that all the students have performed, and that's the spirit we keep up. So couldn't have a better closing to our program today. Thank you, parents. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, my dear children. I love you all. So I'll close the program for today. In case anyone wants to speak, please feel free to speak, parents.
Hello. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, student. Student really prepared very well. And he delivered such a smooth speech. They have taken lot of efforts. And this is very nice. Congrats to every students. And thanks to everyone, student, parents, and teachers. It was a very nice program. Very smooth and a very nice program. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, miss. Thanks a lot for your patience and giving her a chance again to perform. Thanks a lot.
It's my pleasure. And she yet kept up her spirit and spoke at her best. So it's really wonderful. It's commendable. Thank you.
Please
Ms.
greet
Mehta,
her.
thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and congratulations to all the students. It was such a wonderful event, and I see the excitement with every single student and the passion in delivering what they are delivering. Thank you once again, Ms. Mehta.
Thank you, sir. So,
Smita ma'am,
yes, sir.
thank you very much from our side as well. Every student is performing well, but the way you are motivating him, the way you are supporting him, the way you are taking all his, all his temperaments, I'm really very thank you for this.
Thank you, sir. I know I have to do it, but Arav is a child who does require a bit of encouragement, and I'm always there for him. We all are there for him. So, thank you, dear parents, for all your words of appreciation. Thank you, students, for all your efforts. And thank you, teachers, for being there to support them. So, we'll close the program for this evening. Have a nice evening ahead. And thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.